dive right into the game now. We got Night Market coming up here for Hold the Line and SuRpLu5 Esports. We'll see what the bans are. Night Market, you do tend to see Drakkar being a little bit oppressive on the goal line, especially. I mean, he can be very useful as a goalie. He can be very useful as a forward. We do also see Juliet taken out of rotation as well.
Yeah, so Drakkar and Juliet, two very prominent strikers taken out immediately, and because of that, we're actually going to be seeing an Estelle goalie. I want to say for the first time all stream, we have not really seen much Estelle coming out. Asher on the other side as well. Again, a goalie we saw a little bit earlier, and actually the first era of the stream, I'm actually really excited to see because those buffs and debuffs can be absolutely crucial in the mid games when you are running low on cooldowns.
Yeah, Era debuffed in the last micro patch. It wasn't like a super significant debuff, I will say though. You know, so for people who are still talented at Era, I would expect that they're still going to be bringing a fairly good game to the table. We'll see how things pan out here. Atlas most likely going to be in the goal here, if I'm not mistaken, alongside Joker as Asher. This is a pretty common Night Market setup, and we do see Atlas in the goal, and we do see Timeless Creator as well as the Spark of Resilience. So Estelle and Asher on the Spark, everybody else with Timeless Creator, and that might help explain why we saw exactly who we saw.
Yeah, absolutely, as both sides lose one half of their goal barriers to start off, and it is going to be SuRpLu5 Esports on the attack early on, but as several of their members get staggered up, TheJoker especially is in a lot of trouble and is just barely staying away from the walls, going to stay alive for the moment thanks to a nicely placed orb.
Yeah, the Spark of Resilience is going to start becoming their friend pretty quickly here, I imagine, as we start to see players hitting level 2 as well. That Atlas Celestial Intervention surely going to have a critical role, as it does seem like it's going to be a very brawl-heavy game. You can see Puffy being escorted off the top there, Wallaby Gangsta, putting X to as good a use as you could possibly get. 2 core flips, there's one, nice one-timer. They pull the second one as well, but it will not be the 1-2 dunk from the Vice, and that's a beautiful defense. It cost them a lot of HP, and even more in strikers.
SuRpLu5, it was down 1, now down 2. It is just Puffy trying to defend the goal, and there is nothing that you can do in that situation, not when there is just a lone Era standing alone on the point. It is going to be Hold the Line, the underdogs here, getting the first goal of the match.
Yeah, they're holding the line. They're holding the line on the opposite side of the field, though. It's a bit of an interesting mix-up, but hey, you know, if it works, it works. They've already got 1 shield barrier down. They're looking for 2 there. TheJoker immediately staggered. Seems like this is going to be a common theme as we move forward, and I believe they are going to be hunting those Sparks in the Awakening drafts as we move forward. But it's just a lot of damage for Hold the Line. That Vice and X really teaming up to great use. You don't really have a whole lot of damage on the other side. Of course, Asher can get in the face of the enemy. Era great for some midfield presence, but overall, their DPS isn't that great. Nice save by XenoGemini with the core.
Yeah, going to keep that goal barrier on the line for just a little bit longer, and you're absolutely right. Puffy on that Era is really dependent on trying to deliver debuffs to the enemy and buffs to the allies, but has been hanging out on their own so far, so hasn't really been able to get as many of those speed boosts as you wanted. And once again, we see SuRpLu5 Esports down in members, and that X shot might have been the winner there, but the core flip from all the way on the other side. My goodness, even when down members, barcode is going to tie things up for SuRpLu5.
Yeah, just a little bit of folly there from Xeno. Getting a tiny bit overzealous with their positioning. They did have the striker advantage, but sometimes you get a little bit too far out of net, especially with an open one behind you. And that's not going to end so well. So that's just some great vision on the side of SuRpLu5 Esports, and certainly one that they wanted back after going down a striker. It certainly looked like things were going to stop going their way pretty quick. Nice save using the Estelle special, the darts there from XenoGemini yet again. They are putting that striker to pretty good use. Joker, though, with that breakthrough, beautifully CCing the enemy goalie, and that's a shield down. We'll see if they can continue.
Yeah, this Asher player is doing a fantastic job of just being all over the place on the court. Wherever they need them to be, they're going to be able to use that dash and make sure you get at least 1 extra hit on that core. It is worth noting, though, that both goal barriers are now gone once again early from the side of SuRpLu5 Esports, and that is when Hold the Line strikes 2-1.
That's very clearly a wonderful example of how you can use the Vice abilities to well and truly stuff the opposing defense. We saw what looked to be a fairly solid attempt there by barcode to get that core away, and yet It was not meant to be. See the Vice ultimate coming out again, earning a lot of space and time here. And I'm wondering, you know, it does feel like to me there's just so much bullying going on. The Joker just lost the majority of their HP. They still turn it around and pick up a KO. They might be able to turn this around into a goal as well. Couple of debuffs there from Puffy. So some great zone time being created here, but can they capitalize on the mana advantage? It looks like barcode almost even concedes a barrier, but they do get there in time. It was just a little bit off target anyhow. Still though, that's a quality defense.
It is a quality defense. It's something that I've kind of noticed as the teams have been playing on Night Market, is basically conceding a single goal barrier so that their goalie can just kind of focus on making sure that that second one stays online as long as possible, especially because you're playing a Stell goalie for the side of Xeno. You don't really have any of those big AoE deflections like you would have for an Atlas, so you really got to make sure that you make every one of those strikes count.
Very true. We talked about conceding one of the goal barriers as well, and it's not uncommon that you see them both go down in rapid succession. They will lose their second on the side of Hold the Line. barcode again holding the line on their side of the field this time. We'll see how things pan out for them. Oh, that's a beautiful dunk there. Vice getting credit for that shield barrier going down, but they still need to put one more. We're into OT now, and that's a wonderful angle there. Puffy down onto the bottom side, and we're 2-2 going into the final volley of the set.
Absolutely. Next goal is going to take the first set of the match. This is a best of 3, not a best of 1, so it's not quite as big of a deal as it was in the rounds before to lose set 1, but it is definitely a big momentum starter. And once again, we see SuRpLu5 Esports down 1 early. Joker and barcode left to keep up the defense as much as possible. They are going to lose one of those goal barriers, but now we do see Puffy come on back into this one.
A lot more momentum on the side of Hold the Line. We've seen what that kind of has consequences in. But barcode putting up an incredibly valiant effort as a solo defender. That's, you know, notwithstanding the fact that they got Puffy and Joker helping out on the back line at present. The core is starting to make a little bit of a home for itself on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, but it's still a little bit of back and forth here. They won't pull the Cosmic Expanse, so now that's one ability wasted. The Maelstrom's going to earn some space and time, though. And it feels like we're starting, I know it doesn't look like it, but it feels like play might start slowing down here just a little bit. The goalie's getting very comfortable in their positions right about now.
Yeah, about to hit overtime here for the last round of set 1, game 1 here. The core flip used, but not gonna get down from Xeno, and all of a sudden both goals go down, and that is going to be set 1 for SuRpLu5 Esports. Indomitable aggression, the unbreakable wall of Asher was on full display in that one.
Yeah, it really seems like the one big game changer for Hold the Line was their ability to take one of the enemy strikers out of the equation more often than not. When they started to shift their focus away from that, they started losing a little bit of that zone time. We see Primetime for Era on the side of SuRpLu5 Esports. All the more debuffs, and that is critical, especially when you're trying to counterplay X. It reduces mobility for Vice and X both. It reduces mobility for Estelle. That debuff can be absolutely monumental. Alongside Orb Dancer here for barcode on the back end as Atlas. This is a lot. This is a lot in terms of like gameplay change for mobility.
Yeah. Not to mention, it is very on brand for this event. I think if Primetime is available and you don't play, you actually get kicked out of the bracket immediately.
Yeah,
so,
that is true.
You absolutely had to do that if you're Era. Wallaby Gangsta under a lot of pressure immediately staggered up, but X is not going to go down that easy.
We're going to have to take a look at the other Awakenings. I got so focused on checking out the other ones that I didn't see what all else was in the draft. We did see the spark for XenoGemini. That cooldown is going to be critical as well. We saw them putting up an amazing effort on the defensive side. Same could be said for barcode, but it was really the ability cooldowns that ruined it for that Estelle on the backline. Atlas can get away with the Cosmic Expanse, usually making a couple of saves, but you can see Xeno having some trouble. It was just the Joker alone pushing that top side, and now they've got both shield barriers down. We'll see if they can push it through. They're missing one of their own, but it's looking like the core is starting to swing over to Hold the Line's way.
Yeah, it is they're doing a pretty good job of holding on with no goal barriers currently available. Now about to head into overtime as barcode, once again, doing a really great job as a solo defender. This Atlas is just able to do so much AoE deflection. And now core flips are going to go back and forth. So many members on the field very low. They have to be careful. And what an expertly placed shot there. Just gets right past Vice.
Yeah, Joker and PuffyFPS coming together as a team there. just a superb quality performance. That's really all there is to be said about it. We see Xeno using all of their tools, all of their abilities that they possibly can to assist their team in gaining the midfield advantage. It's working out, but it's turning into a battle of barcode holding the back line on the defense versus hold the line as an entire team trying to push forward. They lose one striker as well, so this is certainly going to be a bad situation. They do burn one core flip on the defensive side to get it away, and that's wonderfully used as well.
It is wonderfully used, and it is going to give Wallaby Gangsta enough time to get back into the fight, but not before you almost lose. Vice has to go elusive in order to stay away for the moment, and there is the Asher getting the finishing pick. So once again, we see hold the line down a striker here. Wallaby and Xeno trying to do whatever they can to keep the core alive, and honestly, a really nice defensive effort from the two of them, not even losing a single goal barrier before Vice gets back in the fight.
I wonder what you can really chalk that up to. PuffyFPS and Joker, like I said, their chemistry seems to be fairly on point when it comes to the offensive side, but Xeno, like I mentioned earlier, if they can manage those cooldowns with now having 2 sparks, including the Spark of Focus, it's becoming a little bit easier for them. That one they will get with the blink. Again, using all of the tools at their disposal. They do have it on cooldown for that one, though. The angle maybe catching them a little bit off guard. Almost an own it on the gold barrier. The Joker's low, but that's not going to stop him from going in. We're just going back and forth. Finally, the second gold barrier goes down. Wallaby Gangsta going to get credit for that one. They've got 1 core flip on the goalie here in XenoGemini, but this one could still go either way if they don't play their cards right.
Yeah, they have to play him right here. As the Joker is on the aggression, and you know that Asher can be so oppressive, but a nice core flip from Wallaby Gangsta gets it on the other side of the goal where barcode was not. And that is going to be hold the line, tying things up once again, as it has been so often in the early going of the series.
It is, and oh boy, things are just really starting to heat up here.
Yeah.
A little bit. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying how things are going for this one. That's a beautiful M1 play there. The primary debuff from PuffyFPS, not only getting 2 enemy strikers, but putting down a shield barrier as well, and that's 2 gone now.
There's so much pressure on Xeno right now in order to try and keep things alive, but yeah, the dash just not quite able to do enough when the Joker comes a-knockin'. And this is now set point for the side of SuRpLu5 Esports, gonna go up 2-0 in the series.
I love that mind game as well from Joker. It can be incredibly hard to position yourself as Asher, especially without a lot of mobility, but I'm just going to ignore that for now, as they do get taken off the field. I guess that's one reason to stop talking about him, but yeah, being able to position yourself against an enemy Estelle like that, they have to use their blink. You know this, so you just save your strike for it, and they were able to win that duel. Speaking of, though, XenoGemini getting involved as the Estelle again using the blink to get back in time. They can't save both of them, though. Such is the folly of having 2 shield bearers. They can't even save the second one, though. The Joker's just getting it all done. If not for the core flip, that surely would have been a goal with the beam arc there. But both of them are down now. As you mentioned, SuRpLu5 right here on set point.
Yeah, they need to try and knock this in, and you see Vice going back to play a bit of a secondary goalie here. That 2 versus 1 is going to be tough for Joker to use, and the snipe from XenoGemini, who, by the way, is the only player on this field who's at level 9, so is going to be able to do a lot of damage, a lot of knockback with these abilities if you're able to hit them right. But again, this is a sniper character. It's big a learning curve to be able to hit these projectiles, and the core flip just barely saved by XenoGemini. Gotta give this player props.
Oh, but then the blink. They have to use the blink to save it on the bottom, and Joker sees the vision. That was some defending, though. I know we sound like a broken record at this point, Dividing, but oh my god, the defense.
I mean, it is so tough. Estelle is not, like, the character that I think of immediately when I think of, like, oh, this is going to be my main goalie. You really have to get every ounce of value out of those cooldowns, and my goodness, XenoGemini is doing that and more, but unfortunately, eventually, you just run out of those cooldowns. So, as we see our awakenings for number 2, I am seeing Asher on that stagger swagger. That could be huge. It'll allow you to hit so much harder.
Yeah,
especially when you are heavily damaged. So, as Asher tends to get a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing of it right now. You have to make the decision. It's like, if you go after the Joker, you have to kill the Joker, because they've already been pretty impressive with their Asher positioning. And like I said, that's fairly impressive. But now, if you decide to attack them and they get away, and you put them under half HP, guess what? They're 40% faster now, until they get back up you know, above that threshold. So they're going to be even more slippery. They're going to be even more dangerous. They're going to be even more oppressive with their positioning. And here they go.
There it is.
There's Joker. They got that mid buff from Night Market. And yeah, things. In fact, wait a minute. Who did we lose? Vice is off the field. I didn't even see that combat happening, but they're gone. They're going to try to push the advantage now. PuffyFPS alongside the Joker. But that's some great placement there. Wallaby Gangsta with the X. X going to give it to you.
X is always gonna give it to you, except when he doesn't, and you're going to need a little bit of help when that happens from the rest of the squads. With a nice little bounce off the wall with the core flip is going to get rid of the second goal barrier for the side of Hold the Line, trying to do everything they can to get that second goal barrier down, and XenoGemini, yeah, emote on him, buddy. That was some nice work of defense.
Well, Joker's still going to try, but then even then, he is Stella Mouse 1, and they can't get anything done here. I mean, Joker is trying to get it all done. He really does seem like a jokester at times. The way he plays Asher, it feels like WM1 gameplay, if I'm just looking at it. But then you see all the random, like, little things that they're in perfect position for, and then you realize maybe it's not quite there. Wallaby Gangsta getting denied with the core flip. The Maelstrom comes out, going to try to gain a positional advantage here on the side of SuRpLu5 Esports. They won't find exactly what they're looking for. The blink comes out from XenoGemini. They're going to have to play this one away, and they will just barely. Barcode almost stuffs themselves. They pull a core flip to try to get it away, still with the barriers, and this course is going all the way around town, time and time again. Joker dribbles to themselves, and they'll finally make the play.
That is the teamwork that you'll love to see from the side of SuRpLu5 Esports. From Barcode to Puffy to Joker, from one side of the map to the other. And this team is looking fine on set number 3. This has been a really close set so far, but it could be a straight sweep right now for SuRpLu5 Esports.
It feels like XenoGemini has got more vision than they can handle right about now. Like I said before, their defensive effort is insane. The problem is, they need like twice the abilities that they have on offer right about now. Give us still more abilities, please, Odyssey, I beg you. And we can see the full power of XenoGemini, but it's just not meant to be. They've already lost a shield barrier here. They're looking for something, but again, it's Joker so fast through the mid. It's just been abusing that center area of Night Market alongside the arrow buff from PuffyFPS, and there's not really a whole lot that you can do to try to gain this dominant zone control that we saw in set 1.
Absolutely, and by the way, I do have to say here, we've been talking a lot about the XenoGemini defense. How about Barcode, who has consistently been losing those goal barriers at a much slower rate than Xeno has? While Xeno has made a lot of great plays in the open net, Barcode and the rest of the SuRpLu5 Esports squad has done a good job making sure they don't even have to be in that kind of situation.
This is very true, and we'll get that one away somehow. Even with the bull rush there from Wallaby Gangsta, and there's Joker. Carrying one off the side. There goes Vice. XenoGemini is going to have to try and make some big plays here, but they can't cover everything. Now they're going to have to cover everything one way or the other, because they are just about to be put on set point here for the last set, and Xeno somehow gets that one away. How do they have the vision to see these kinds of clearances being available to them? But they do, and that's all that matters. We're here in OT. They still need to put down one shield barrier, a core flip from the enemy goalie, and it will be enough to push it on through. It's 2-0 now.
So many. I think it was someone from the last game who said we have infinity amounts of series points here for the side of SuRpLu5 Esports. Any one of these goals before Hold the Line gets 3, and then even if you somehow let that slip by, you're going to have 2 more sets. So SuRpLu5 Esports looking real strong right now. Of course, we are in a best of 3, but we are, I mean, going down 1-0 in that best of 3 would be crippling to Hold the Line at this point. So you really need to at least find some sort of momentum you can try and get to. You can try to take the game too, if nothing else.
And we do see PuffyFPS getting in there with the core flip in the middle of 3 enemy strikers, all of which are geared towards combat. But they don't care. They went in there anyways, and they did survive, I might add. They managed to pick one shield barrier, but they've lost 2 of their own now. We could really use a change in form here from Hold the Line, although Wallaby Gangsta getting slowed is certainly not going to help. We see a little bit of a rotation here. Xeno pushing up, exchanging that goal spot with Vice. And they will be able to hold on to that shield barrier. Wallaby Gangsta with the bull rush, and that will get them 1 critically back.
Yeah, we haven't been really seeing that many great X moments here from Wallaby Gangsta. Finally is going to get one going when Hold the Line needs them the most. They still need to get back from a very big deficit, though. we're going to need to be seeing a couple more of those bull rushes there, a couple more of those strikes from Wallaby Gangsta in order to match what we've seen the Joker do on the other side.
Hold the line. Should be noted as well. They're going to have to pull off a full reverse sweep going down 2-0 in the final, potentially the final set. And then obviously they're going to have to come back. The Joker's off though. PuffyFPS isn't looking so great on the other side either. The SuRpLu5 Esports are going to be playing at a man disadvantage for just a couple more seconds. The Cosmic Expanse is good enough to keep it away for now. Can they finally dunk this one through Wallaby Gangsta? Not quite. Barcode's going to make the effort. They'll pull a core flip, and that's not even enough. All of the Estelle abilities are coming out. They pulled the Blink, I believe. They pulled the primary fire, the snipe shot, and the ultimate as well, but they still could not make it happen. Joker instantly in the paint, pulls the last shield bearer, and punches it through. That's game one. Just close the book. It's not even worth looking back on this one, it feels like.
That is some aggression from the Joker, by the way. It was getting chunked down by the entirety of the Hold the Line squad. Just a sliver of health remaining, but stayed in there because you know that all of the cooldowns were getting drained out of Hold the Line. It was just going to take one more good shot in order to take game one, and that's exactly what SuRpLu5 Esports is going to do here on Night Market. How about the two goalies here? 89 saves for XenoGemini, 78 for Barcode, keeping up with each other very, very well in this first round.
Yeah, like we said, it was a phenomenal effort on both sides for the defense. I still feel like it was just on the side of XenoGemini, right? You see him making all of these amazing defensive plays, and it still gets by them. Why? Like I said, you know, you gotta throw out your abilities, and then, oh, hey, look, I'm just looking at the bottom of my screen, says Zeno, and they're all grayed out. There's not really a whole lot you're going to be able to do about that, even with the strike shot for just a little bit of extra coverage, that little bit of cooldown protection, and there's not really a whole lot to be done about it, as we did lose Dividing Scam, but I assure you, still very much here. So enjoy Squidd and white screen, I guess, for now, as we await number 2 here. But Dividing, tell me about what you think for potential upcoming goalie drafts, because Zeno, great job on Estelle. Pretty obvious that either your team didn't have the midfield control you needed, or you just need more consistent abilities.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't feel like you're going to be getting a ton out of. I mean, the Estelle was obviously, it was a really good effort there, and I kind of understand what you were going for there, because not only do you have the defensive abilities, but you also have the ability to snipe people from across the map. The damage for XenoGemini was at least double, if not more, than the rest of, than for Barcode on the other side. So there was definitely a lot of good stuff going on, but you just weren't really able to find the KOs on one side in order to make it worth it. So I have Video Ninja up again. Hopefully we'll be seeing my face once again soon.
Come on, this is gonna work one of these times. If I just do it enough, it'll work, right?
And it's like you're at the stoplight and you keep trying to count down.
Oh God, Bud, you should have warned me or something. Come
you're
on.
psychic. You're psychic. You did it.
Oh, I hate it. Anyway. So coming into this next match, we're still waiting. Actually, I still have the game feed. I just have the prod feed up. I believe we're going to be joining it here in a second, though, so I'll be able to see the map one way or the other. But here's my stipulation, right? You can play a Estelle goalie like that. We saw an attempt to rotate out. It was Lyarri who was trying to rotate in as Vice to give a little bit more space for Zeno to move upfield. But if you don't have the oppressive midfield control, it doesn't really matter who you've got in the midfield, because Vice and Estelle are not geared towards prolonged defensive stance. So hold the line. Got to think about that here with their draft on to Atlas Lab, and we'll see how things change into the pre-pick phase, into the ban phase now, and Zeno is hovering over Atlas, which I got to admit, looks like the stronger of the two goalies in the last match. Not for player skill, just for the draft.
So just like last time, we're seeing Drekar banned, we're seeing Juliet banned. I imagine this might be like a player comfort pick that I just don't know about. So we'll see what happens. But no matter what, Wallaby Gangsta is going to get back onto the X. I think we are going to be needing to see a lot more out of this player in the second round if we want to see Hold the Line turn this around. I think was getting pretty outclassed, was very rarely able to get through Barcode's defenses.
Very true. But we did see, I mean, for Wallaby Gangsta, we did see a lot of KOs happening in set 1. That was something that I really pointed out. A Zentaro pick here. So a little bit outside the meta, but perhaps the extra mobility, the extra, I guess, mix-up will help out. And it does sound like we have an upset that came down the pipeline a little bit ago that we didn't get a chance to talk about. We saw the Oregon Trail, third place contender from the last event, taken out by CKJ. So already losing one of our money winners from the last event here in this bracket. So Primetime Tuesday, really starting to heat up here, Dividing.
Yeah, I love to see the parity coming in from these events. It just goes to show you that no matter what, any given week, anyone can get into these money matches. So we'll see what ends up happening when it goes into the weeks prior, as we have plenty of weeks planned of this. We'll hopefully see Oregon Trail back once again for Primetime number 3. But as we head into round number 2, I'll be very curious to see how the Centauro pick from TheJoker is going to stack up here. And it's actually going very nicely, as there's a lot of initial aggression here from the side of SuRpLu5 Esports, getting down both goalies before losing a member, though.
Yeah, that's something to be watched out for. I feel like that might help to give Wallaby Gangsta and Lyarri a slight advantage as well. We saw a more KO-focused game for them in set 1 of the previous map, though on Night Market, you don't have the free damage from the gravity well in the center, so we'll see how things pan out. Of course, that does swing 2 ways. You can see Joker and Wallaby Gangsta kind of walking around it in the center. That's a wonderful Celestial intervention, but it's not gonna matter anyway. There goes Zentaro off the top. PuffyFPS trades, but no! I think, was that a supernova? Just own goal for PuffyFPS.
I honestly can't tell. There were just explosions going off left and right, and no one much, I think including SuRpLu5 Esports could tell what was happening in that one, but it's just going to be about taking a deep breath and getting yourself back on track here for number 2, as you see SuRpLu5 Esports immediately losing a goal barrier to start off, so barcode's got to tighten up here.
And Wallaby Gangsta almost getting taken out on the bottom there by TheJoker on Zentaro. They will be taken off the side here, so I guess not all is well in the world. Hold the line, though. Should note, getting 3-0 in the last game of this best of 3, they could certainly use a set win for probably some mental confidence. I love that core flip, by the way, avoiding a Thunder Shock from the enemy Vice. Zentaro's having a bit of a tough time here. We will see the Supernova come out yet again, and oh my goodness, Wallaby Gangsta taking loads of hits. TheJoker tries to get elusive to avoid the gravity well, and they will not be hit by it in the end. Still though, things getting out of hand. Barcode tries to use the core flip to displace Wallaby Gangsta. They are successful in doing so. They still lose the shield barrier though. This is all about midfield control right now, displacing enemy strikers and trying to gain control of the puck in that way. That's almost a beautiful one.
Near miss.
Not quite.
Yeah, Lyarri ends up using the core flip and just barely ends up missing that one, but still, one team has a goal barrier and the other does not, so hold the line, feeling very good about their chances here, and that is the pass that we needed to see. Lyarri to Wallaby Gangsta, 2-0 for hold the line, getting off on the right foot after a 3-0 in the last.
I'm sure the black hole bomb in the center removing TheJoker helped as well. You can see Awakenings on screen now. We do have Spark of Focus for 2 of the players here on the side of Hold the Line, critically aerials for Joker and PuffyFPS. That does explain the Zentaro pick. Getting a little bit of extra power and distance on that blink very, very early on is a very helpful tool for Zentaro. We see them pick up a shield barrier here after taking Wallaby Gangsta out of the play. They're looking for 2, and that will make it. But can they convert? Gravity well back in play yet again, and it will not benefit Hold the Line this time around. Keeps the puck in the zone. TheJoker trying to make a push here alongside PuffyFPS. They're being patient with it, and I like the idea, but it's not good.
Yeah, not quite going to get the fake out there that they were hoping for, and you see Xeno and Lyarri doing a really good job of basically playing goalie off of each other. Lyarri doing a really good job specifically of going forward to goalie depending on where Hold the Line needs them to be, but there is once again the pass one to the other. We saw Hold the Line do it just a moment ago. This time SuRpLu5 Esports is going to knock it in and say this set isn't over yet.
Already some flashbacks here for Hold the Line. I wonder what we will see changing. That gravity wall almost getting Wallaby Gangsta a free shield barrier there on the bottom. It's going to be a bit of a battle immediately. Zentaro and X both going at it, including the Supernova, and Wallaby Gangsta is gone. Off the top, way up north, Lyarri barely saving that second shield barrier critically, I might add. This gives them a little bit of leeway, a little bit of time to try and buy to get their other teammate back, and it looks like they'll be able to hold on for just long enough alongside the Celestial intervention to guarantee that they don't lose their goalie. It's a quality play from Atlas, but still, they're just running damage control that whole time. They need to start to try and push some sort of advantage, and this might just be it here.
Yeah, barcode now suddenly under a lot of pressure and a nice little bouncer one side to the other. Barcode had no way to save that one goal barrier, so it is 1-1 right now as all sides have used all of their current core flips. And now SuRpLu5 Esports is down a member. Joker and Barcode have got to put on a big defensive hold right now in order to keep things alive. The Joker now very low. One knock into the wall, and it's just going to be Barcode all by their lonesome is going to open up the goal now, but they are now back to 3 strong.
WobblyGangsta with a core flip as well. Trying to push upfield. Both shield barriers down now, though, and that's... Ooh, it's trouble! But Joker's taken out. WobblyGangsta tries to use the Bull Rush to displace the enemy goalie, and it might be good! There it is! Lyarri with the one-timer reception for WobblyGangsta, and they finally got a set and a foothold in this series.
Oh, one set might just be all hold the line needed here. They just needed that little bit of a deep breath saying, hey, we got this. We can take sets off of this team. What? Primetime. You better see it.
Proud in the back. Just like,
you better see it.
Ooh,
you better see it.
Yeah! There it is. There it goes. There it goes.
Yes, both times Primetime has come out, it has been the first thing taken, as if these players know that it is simply the best awakening in the game.
That, and we did see Twin Drive taken immediately for Barcode, but that Cosmic Expanse is so good, especially with the 22-second cooldown. You gotta take Twin Drive as Atlas. Or Ponderer onto the other side. An Adrenaline Rush for the Joker. I'm curious to see how that's going to come into play. The KOs have been present, I'll say. They didn't seem to be incredibly frequent, but just a little bit less than incredible, we'll say. It still was a fairly big part of play. So, Joker gonna be hunting for those KOs now.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Joker was already kind of hunting for those KOs, those very precise and strong strikes for them. This is going to make them even more deadly when going for it. That being said, I think we gotta be seeing you hit those dashes a little bit more than we had seen before. Just saw the very near miss onto the goalie of XenoGemini. Both sides now down one of their goal barriers. The Joker very, very low, as Zentaro has seemed to be, and that is a nice hit from XenoGemini, sends him right into his own goal.
I love that idea as well for Joker, trying to use the dash to kind of feign like it's an attack on Xeno and then grab the opposing orb, but it wasn't good enough. PuffyFPS just barely avoiding death on that one. XenoGemini maybe overextending just a little bit trying to defend there. They will make a nice save up off the top side away from the Supernova, but it's a little bit easier to read for these high-level players. Puffy still not looking so hot, and they barely survive against the Thunderstruck there from Lyarri, and things are getting a little bit out of hand here. Joker almost having that little bit of extra oomph with the Zentaro passive, and now it's online. They'll try to push in. They do go in with the primary fire. It's not good enough, but they continue to push. Still somehow played away by XenoGemini, again with that vision, but they don't have anything to play that one out. And Puffy gets number 1.
Ooh. Man, again, I'm just so impressed by XenoGemini just getting every ounce of value out of their abilities to try and keep this set alive as long as possible. But eventually, you're just going to run out of cooldowns, and SuRpLu5 Esports are going to find a way to get it in. And immediately, they've taken down another one of those goal barriers. So you're going to be seeing that ultimate come out early from XenoGemini, trying to keep everyone alive, but that goalie is very low on health already, has to use the elusive.
Yeah, that core flip. It's a lot of energy being wasted there for XenoGemini, although they do usually use it for defensive purposes, so I suppose they're not going to be missing it too much. Critical core, orb pickup on the back line that will sacrifice the integrity of their defense, and you can see the ramifications of that now. Lyarri's gonna have to try to play to the top side. WobblyGangsta attempting to join them. Joker is really hunting for that kill, and they almost pick it up. You can see the Celestial Intervention popped pretty much as soon as it's off of cooldown, but again, the relentless pressure is too much.
Yeah, it does not matter how low you are on health. It is clear that the members of SuRpLu5 Esports are just going to keep on attacking, keep on hitting the core, hitting the enemies until they finish their goal. Their goal, of course, of being the goal. So, oh, and a nice little angle there. The Joker is going to get 2 goal barriers for the price of 1. And already when you're up 2-0, that is music to the ears of SuRpLu5.
That it is. Joker does have a core available. Barcode as well. 2 Supernovas going to come out here and burn a lot of energy. Joker forced to use their core flip. This one is not going to be good. Cosmic Expanse comes out, but that's on cooldown, and so is the barrier. And with the 1-2-1, Joker and Puffy come together. SuRpLu5 Esports, a masterclass here in set 2.
We're going to the left. No, we're going to the right. No, it's gonna be the left again. No matter how much vision you have as XenoGemini, there is nothing you can do against the back and forth faking you out. As we see ourselves in the round 3 awakenings. I heard a little sound out of you, Squidd. What are you seeing?
I was curious. Well, I expected for Joker, they would probably go for one of the combat-oriented awakenings here. Build different, Stinger for the extra damage, maybe even Stagger Swagger to help them play against Wallaby Gangsta. We do see them rather low very frequently, but they go for Orb Replicator instead. Most likely going to try to bank on the mobility in order to help spread the love with their teammates. I just find that to be a little bit interesting, especially having taken Adrenaline Rush before. It does seem like they could really benefit from more combat-oriented awakenings, although it seems to be a very defensive game. Somehow, Barcode managed to make a couple of quality plays defending that bottom shield there. I don't know how they did it, granted. I am a meager player.
I mean, it was Barcode who ended up picking up that build difference. So that size increase is going to make it even easier to defend those goal barriers. It was already a strength for this team in these first couple of sets, and it's going to make a strength even stronger for the side of SuRpLu5 Esports, and you can see it immediately as once again the goal barriers just melt away for Hold the Line as they are forced to use the Celestial Intervention to keep themselves alive, and it is going to pay off in the form of a kill on to Zentaro. So now you're up a player, power play opportunity.
I'm not going to say I told you so. Obviously, a goal hasn't been scored yet. I still have the opportunity to score here, actually. The Joker already back. Feels like they never even lost anybody. Lyarri almost actually saving it for the opponents, but they do get the goal barrier, but it's not about the goal barrier, it's about the goals. Right now, they look like they're under some significant pressure. Puffy and Joker having some difficulty staying alive as a tandem right about now, but they are still in the zone, and there is the snipe from downtown. Puffy with a continued pressure. That's 1-up.
Really nicely done from these squads. Just finding creative way after creative way from the Joker and Puffy to really fake out XenoGemini. I think they have realized at this point in the game that you really have to respect the vision on this goalie. You're not just going to be able to get one in straight up, so you're going to be forced to be creative, and be creative they have been.
This is a bit tough for Xeno. I mean, we say all these things, all these nice things about Xeno as a defender, and for Estelle last game, they had the mobility to get all over the net and make these saves where they need to. And now they have a lot more, continuous zone coverage. But the problem is, we see Joker and Puffy just going back and forth until Atlas is eventually going to be out of position and has nothing to play with. So it really has been the worst.
Go down.
It really has just been the worst here for Xeno, and yeah, that's going to be an easy cleanup, it looks like. Mentioned that KO on Barcode, and a whole lot more to that story, I suppose.
Yeah, getting rid of the Atlas, getting the goalie KO is all you need in that situation to tie things up for the set. But yeah, you're absolutely right. XenoGemini is just a little bit slower this time around, so it is going to be not quite the same as we saw on Estelle. It's just going to have to be very deliberate with these cooldowns, as does Barcode, also playing the Atlas, and is currently finding themselves down a goal barrier early.
Yeah, I think this is just a situation of the midfield difference. I mean, talk about XenoGemini. Like I mentioned, it's not their fault necessarily. It's just the fault of the strikers that they picked and the game state. So we'll just leave that as it is. We saw Barco being taken out last time around. They will survive this one. The Joker and Wallaby Gangsta going at it yet again, and Wallaby is the one who loses their hero. See another one go off the back. XenoGemini, I mean, you can't play quality defense if you're not there. That gravity wall coming in at a bad time here for SuRpLu5 Esports. It looks like they might not have the chance to capitalize. The adrenaline rush already wearing off for the Joker. Wallaby Gangsta back, XenoGemini back, and Lyarri manages to hold the line down there on the bottom. They will lose the shield berry into OT though. Can they keep it up?
Lyarri showing a little bit of that skill that allowed them to get second place in the last Primetime Tuesday in order to keep things alive by themselves for a minute there. But unfortunately, they do end up losing it at the end. A little bit of the gravity change from the well is going to make things a little bit more difficult to defend. And right past XenoGemini, set point now for the side of SuRpLu5.
It's like inverse caster's curse right there. You mentioned the gravity well making it difficult to defend. And Xeno, if the core just went straight at them, guess what? That's great, but we don't do that here, says Einstein's theory of relativity, and there it goes. Anyhow, hold the line here on set point yet again. Well, set point against, I should say, as well as Puffy having that core flip. Things do not bode well for them. They're able to match one shield barrier for one shield barrier. They use that core flip, and they don't pick it up. The Cosmic Expanse is good enough. Yet again, the vision there from XenoGemini. They use the Celestial Intervention on both sides here now, and we're at a bit of an even battle.
We are at a bit of an even battle as both of the strikers on both sides are trading blows, trading damage. The shockwave comes out from Lyarri, and the Joker senses blood in the water, staggered up and very close to the walls, but a nice dash from Lyarri is going to keep them away from death from the Joker for now. Even though you are kind of caught out in no man's land for the moment, barcode is there to keep everything going.
Gangsta holding on to this core flip for some time. Looks like XenoGemini is going to get in the core flip club here in just a second, and they will use it almost immediately to provide some clearance. There goes Puffy off the top. Gangsta and Lyarri trying to push this one as a duo. They will burn the core flip to get that Cosmic Expanse out of the way, plus the Supernova, but barcode uses the core flip. It's not good enough to get the shield barrier away. Gangsta and Lyarri just dive the net, and with the stuns, it's good enough.
All right. This is actually an incredibly impactful point right here. 2-2. Winner goes up to match point on game 2 for the side of SuRpLu5 Esports. It's the opportunity to go up to series point, winners finals point for them. For the side of, and then for the other side, it's just keeping themselves alive.
Already both shield barriers down on both sides. I suppose this is about how we expected this to go. The supernova pull there from PuffyFPS trying to make that one-timer work. I think it was just a little bit too slow and allowed the reposition from Xeno. What a good idea, but there's the Joker with the snipe, the Zentaro passive from out of nowhere. You never expect that. It always comes in at the worst time in SuRpLu5 Esports. Again, with the vision. It feels like I've been talking about that the entire game on both sides.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, both. I think that's really what impresses me about high-level Omega Strikers more than anything. It's just the ability to have vision on what's going on throughout the entire map and understanding the best possible position, the best possible direction to hit the core in. When I'm playing, I just tunnel in on where I am, and I don't look at anything around me, and that's why I'm not very good at the game. So, notably here, we got 3 members starting off on set 4 choosing Orb Dancer. As we saw the infinite symbol underneath there. So these players are going to be going after those orbs, as every time it's gonna be a nice little speed boost to get around the map.
We did see a deny draft as well. Lyarri taking cast to last in order to keep it away from barcode. That's a critical pick for them as well, because barcode was tough to get through before. But if they got cast to last, it'd be nigh impossible. So I'll say it's a good deny, but it does make Lyarri just a little bit weaker than some of the other characters on the field now, especially as you mentioned, those 3 Orb Dancer drafts, 2 Atlas and Zentaro, I believe, all taking that one. SuRpLu5 Esports probably going to be at the advantage for that.
Yeah, I mean, especially because a lot of those orbs are going to get picked up at the goal. It's going to be really good for XenoGemini and barcode to take advantage of. But unfortunately, XenoGemini uses the strike, just puts it right into the waiting arms of the Joker. And then it is 1-0 for SuRpLu5.
I feel like I missed something on that one. I don't want to call it an own goal, though. That's an incredibly uncommon play. But it should be noted, these teams still playing for the money at this point in time. So that might not be on their minds immediately, but 75 guaranteed if you make it through here in the winner semifinal. We'll see how that plays out, though, because Hold the Line are... Well, I would say that they're trying to hold the line. It's not really working so well for them. They're certainly putting their best effort in.
I will say Lyarri and Gangsta are putting a lot of pressure and damage onto the strikers on the other side, but is it a little bit too little too late? The Cosmic Intervention used from XenoGemini to keep Gangsta alive, and it's going to be traded 1-for-1, 2v2 on the point.
PuffyFPS looking a little bit worse for wear there. They will pick up an orb in the back, though. That puts them right back into play. They do start to take a little bit of damage here alongside the core flip. That actually takes barcode out of the play now. And XenoGemini gonna push upfield. Shield barrier is down, and Gangsta. A nice 1-2 play. Quick capitalization on the KO.
Nice little dribble for the side of Wallaby Gangsta to keep themselves in this one. 1-1 now. I mean, right now we have Hold the Line fighting for their tournament lives here. They have to win the next 2 sets to stay alive. All the pressure mounting for this number 7 seeded squad, but Wallaby Gangsta is more than willing to hold up to the challenge here, as that X is doing a lot to put pressure onto especially the Joker, who doesn't seem like he can really do anything without X smacking him around a little bit.
Yeah, I know there's literally an awakening called Glass Cannon, but it feels like everybody is a Glass Cannon right about now. With the amount of damage that they have the propensity to take so much damage in such a short amount of time. That's a nice save. XenoGemini using the core flip to keep that one from... Oh, and the strike shot as well. They can't hold on to it because they weren't into the zone, but still delaying that shield barrier going down. 2 players staggered, 1 on either side right about now. It's a very volatile situation, and there goes the Joker. Barcode does have the core flip available and will burn it to try to bide some time. Not going to be a shield barrier, and they are at risk here on the backside. PuffyFPS and Barcode, both very low, and there goes Barcode. Puffy is also staggered. Joker finally gets back into the play, but it's not looking good. Lyarri and Wallaby Gangsta with the 1-2. It's actually going to be XenoGemini receiving the assist. Quality pressuring play.
And I really needed to see a round like that from Hold the Line to really make me believe that they could come back into this one. It really has seemed like Puffy and the Joker have really gotten the better of the strikers on Hold the Line for most of this match. We really needed to see a game where those 2 really got into their groove, really did a ton of damage, a ton of pressure onto the entirety of SuRpLu5 Esports. And that's exactly what we got, as they are now 1 goal away from taking us to a decisive set number 5. That being said, SuRpLu5 Esports, everyone on the field is Omega'd, and they are continuing to push forward. No matter what situation they're in, it seems like the game plan has not changed for SuRpLu5. It is just go in.
Yeah, I really feel like that's the game plan for both teams right about now. It has been such a fight-heavy game. You don't always see that. Sometimes it's just about trying to take zone control. And speaking of controlling the zone, Joker won't be doing any of that for the next 12 seconds. Lyarri gets a free pass here from Wallaby Gangsta. They're going to try to bide a little bit of time. They still do take down that shield barrier on the top, but now they have the chance to try to move forward. XenoGemini getting involved now as things are starting to heat up. A lot of circles down there on the bottom, but it will get away eventually. They just barely save that one out as the Joker is unable to pick up the shield barrier. But now it's 1 on either side, and we return to form with the number of strikers on the field, so we'll see how things evolve.
Yeah, it just really feels like the Joker at this point in the match, when there's so much damage coming through from the strikers on the other side, Zentaro just gets melted down so incredibly fast. It doesn't matter how much damage you can do with those slashes if 1 punch from X just sends you into the wall and out of the fight, as we saw right there.
Yeah, but with a little bit of a blunder, shield barrier going down on the other side where I felt like it was undue. Supernova will push this one back. They're trying to buy some time for their other player to get back into the game, and the core going through that gravity well. So, barely surviving is Lyarri, Puffy, almost being carried off the top there by X. It seems like we're starting to slow down just a little bit. Neither team wants to go at the disadvantage with a little bit of a mistake here. A little bit of ping pong now. Oh, that one goes down low, but nobody read it. XenoGemini! They've been so good with the vision thus far, but they do not see where that one was headed. Down south, and that's 2 for SuRpLu5.
Puffy with the dribble right back to themselves in order to just knock it into the far corner of the net. And now 2-2, 1 goal is all that separates SuRpLu5 Esports from a berth in the winners finals in their first tournament as an organization. Can Hold the Line find the goal necessary in order to extend this a little bit longer?
They did get 1 shield barrier. They've got another core flip to their name. XenoGemini's not in time to save that shield barrier, but I don't think anything could have been, if I'm being quite honest. Lots of mix-ups here. A Supernova alongside the gravity well explosion. Joker now being staggered. A Celestial Intervention coming out, I believe, on the side of Hold the Line. We now get into a bit of a mirror match with the shield barriers. It's all about having the proper things off the cooldown. Joker with an excellent dash, trying to push this one forward. Lyarri's going to burn the Supernova. That's on cooldown now for the next minute or so. Certainly won't be coming back in this round. The Zentaro ultimate, Puffy, alongside the Joker. They're trying to make it happen. It won't quite work out. They didn't have anything for that final punch through, but they're back on the attack with a dash. Almost a stun on XenoGemini, but it's not good enough, and they will just barely clear it away. No! Puffy out of the corner with the self-dribble, and they'll take it.
That is 2 in a row for Puffy, and that is the move that is going to seal it for SuRpLu5 Esports. Hold the line, hung with them every step of the way, and I wouldn't be shocked to see this team making a run in the losers bracket to get back into those money matches. But hey, Dylan SuRpLu5 has to be so happy right now seeing this team play, seeing this team succeed, guarantee themselves a top 3 placement in this tournament, which, by the way, is an improvement of where this team placed under the name Finesse in Primetime number 1. They got 4th place in that one, so immediately an improvement, making that purchase worth it.
Yeah, looking at the stats here, though. I mean, XenoGemini, comparing XenoGemini and barcode in this one, I want to take a screenshot of this, right? You know, separated by 1 KO,
gosh.
0 saves difference between them. Barcode did get credit for 1 goal, exactly 6,000 damage difference. They did have a slight difference in the number of shots, but the redirects almost identical, and the orbs nearly identical as well. So barcode and XenoGemini, I would like to say. We saw so much action from Wallaby Gangs to Lyarri, PuffyFPS, and TheJoker. You see an aggregate 26 KOs between the two teams, 16 for the winning side, if I'm not mistaken. But,
yeah,
I mean, that's just the way that it goes. But overall, huge defensive game for both these teams. Hold the line. XenoGemini, pat yourself on the back, mate. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you did get outplayed a couple of times, but it's really not any fault of your own. We only saw, I think, 1 or 2 mistakes, I would call them, that could maybe be attributed to player skill, but even then, it was a couple of, like, 50-50 scenarios where you just kind of have to guess and hope that you get it right.
I also have to give a quick shout out to Lyarri in this match. 10 KOs in this one, more than doubling what anyone else in this match did. The closest is Wallaby Gangsta and TheJoker, each of them having 5. So clearly you saw these teams. I think you saw Team Hold the Line have a lot of defensive and offensive prowess individually, but when it came to playing as a team, finding creative ways to just get that last hit, that last little inch of progress to get things into the goal, get the core into the goal, more often than not, SuRpLu5 Esports were able to find that level of creativity, that improvisation that separates the great teams from the amazing teams. And it is an amazing team that deserves a top 3 finish in Primetime Tuesdays number 2.
Certainly. So we do have some bracket updates as well. Trio Abusers going to take Bounty Hunters down to on the other side of the winners semifinal. They'll be playing off against SuRpLu5 Esports, who we just saw take this one. And of course, Hold the Line going to move down into the lower quarterfinal, waiting on the winner of CKJ and the Surreal Saucers, which I got to say is one of my personal favorite names. For teams, Bounty Hunters against Core Overflow right now, who took down Wet and Tricky in the bottom side. But yeah, I think things are shaping up quite nicely, and I would not personally be surprised to see Hold the Line make a little bit of a resurgence in a lower bracket run. But now that SuRpLu5 Esports and Trio Abusers have earned at least a 3rd place finish, we'll see if they can earn themselves a 2nd place finish. Before that, we are going to hop a little bit to a break. As I understand it, Dividing, you're going to be hopping out of the casting booth. We're going to get Mystic in here, so I'll give you a chance to say any goodbyes you'd like to throw at the chat.
Hey, it's not a goodbye, it's a see you soon. I'll be right back after this next series, but I gotta say, it looks like we're gonna be coming up with the winners final up next. SuRpLu5 Esports, which we just saw against Trio Abusers, looking for a repeat victory here in Primetime Tuesdays. It is a match that you're not gonna want to miss, so don't go anywhere.